Howdy, welcome to the channel. This week we're going to be going over my storage solution that I have up here and how in the world I have these crazy Ryobi tools just kind of dangling out in the middle of nowhere. How did I do that? Why does it work? I don't know. Actually, I do know. And if you stay tuned, I am going to show you how to make that happen. So the 1 second answer as to how I made this happen is 3D printing. Well, that's a little bit more than a second, but you get the idea. Now, the long story is there's a lot that goes into it. And if you stay tuned to next week, I'm actually going to go into what I kind of like to call 3D printing 101. Actually, big props to my editor and cameraman who actually came up with calling it 3D printing 101. I love it, it's spot on. Now, if you know a little bit about 3D printing, I'm still probably gonna give you some information in there that you don't know, but if you don't know anything about 3D printing and you're curious about it, then I definitely recommend that you give it a watch because I think it will answer most of the questions that you have around 3D printing, and I actually go into some of the technical details of how 3D printing works, especially with the particular model that I use. So most of what you see back here is actually stored on this pegboard using 3D models that I have printed off of my 3D printer. So let me go more into detail with how I have this set up so that you can understand if it's something you're interested in doing or not. Okay, so as you can see, we have a few different styles within our setup here. So let me actually show you what it looks like whenever we connect one of these. So first of all, we've got this one here, and all I'm doing is I'm spacing it out so I know which pegboard it needs to go into. And you can see it's got the hook. So we need to take those hooks and tuck them into it. And it simply pushes on. And then from the side, we can take our foot and slide it on, and then we can take our tool, this is the power inverter, and we simply slide it, and that's it.
That was easy.
It's that simple. That's our storage. And if you look up here, you can see that I've got the right angle. It's stuck on here, and you can see it's actually cantilevered pretty far out. And that's where a lot of the weight is. There's not a whole lot of weight. You can see the balance here. That's where your balance is. So you actually got a lot of weight out here on the end, but that shows you just how strong the 3D prints can be. And you can see I even have my really beefy hammer drill that's hanging off of this. You can also see that I have a brad nailer hanging off of it. I have a jigsaw hanging off of it. Now these little sanders here, they're pretty light, so that's understandable that stuff like that, but this sander here, that's not so light, and it's cantilevered out. Not only that, but somebody in my family has hung up my 3M mask, by the way, those things are amazing, but has hung my 3M mask off of the tip of it, and it is still holding all of that weight. That is amazing, and that shows the strength of not only the design, but also the filament itself, that it can withstand that much. Now, on my saws, I don't actually have a 3D printed for my saws. I am using the traditional hooks that go into the pegboard, and that just simply connects up and hangs up there. But you will also see over here, I have a couple other, I need to move this one to a different location, but I have printed holders for my angle grinders. So you can actually take your angle grinder and you see that there's a cup down in here and you can put it with a disc on it. Now I don't have one on here, but you can see I've got the guard on here, and you simply put it into it, gently let it down. Don't let it drop, because the more stress over time you put on the hooks, the higher likely it is that you might actually break something. Now this is a different design that I did. I modified somebody else's because I specifically wanted it to say Ryobi, and I specifically wanted to have multiple feet actually connecting. Their design, as you can see here, only had a single. I've actually printed two of these and one of them has broken. Now we have this battery holder here. So let me show you how the battery holder works. Again, it's going to be the same thing. We take these two, we simply push them in and rotate it down. So there we go. And then we simply grab a battery, and now we can slide our battery in, and that is a 3D printed storage solution that you can have for batteries. Here is another storage solution that you can have. Now, this one's a little bit different of a design because this one actually has to be screwed from up underneath. So these are fastened from the underside up through it. Now, this creator has specifically stated that you are not allowed to modify and relist his design or her design. They don't want you to do that. So here's my 4-volt system. Now with these, you can see that we have a round part at the bottom and then a clip up towards the top. Now this This one is actually printed in PLA, and so far it's actually lasted pretty good. I'm quite surprised how well it is lasting. But all we do is we take the base, which is round, and we slide it in, and then we simply clip it on, and that is it. Let me show it on the wall. We're gonna take it and we're gonna slide it on, and then we take our high-speed rotary tool, put it in at the bottom, clip it in at the top, and there you go. It's done, it's hung up, it looks nice. And the beautiful thing about doing it this way, and big thanks to Mrs. Homeworld for this. She came through and she said, you know, why don't you have very specific spaces, and why don't you go ahead and make it where your likeness of tools are together? So I've got the 1/4" impacts here, and then I have my drills here. And then you can see I have lights here in another section. And over here, I've got 2 of the oscillating tools, which I'll be reviewing them very shortly because I really like the new design that they have come out with. But I've got those together. I've got my sanders together, as you can tell, and you can actually pretty much tell that this is like a little woodworking section over here. So that covers the different storage solutions that I am currently doing for my Ryobi tools. Now, I hope to have some other tools eventually to the quantity that I have these Ryobis, so that I can actually print specific storage solutions for them as well. But in the meantime, I'm just gonna keep on buying more Ryobi stuff when I need it and stick it up here on my shop wall. Now, there is one thing that I would highly recommend if you're going to do this. This is the traditional pegboard that is actually more like an MDF. And so what that means is, here in Texas, like right now, we are 9:45 at night and we're still floating around 95 degrees and about 80% humidity. So that means that we have a lot of moisture in the air, and it's not pleasant being out here at the moment. But that means that your board is going to start sagging because you have all of this weight pulling on the board. And you can see we actually have 2x4s, 16" on center behind here, and these are properly secured to the 2x4s. So we've done as much as we can up here for strength for the board itself. But you can still see right here, you can see, look at that. That's how much that board has bowed out because of the style of board that it is. Now, boards like this are notorious for absorbing moisture. It's kind of their thing. It's what they do. So if I was going to do this again, this board came when I got here. It came with the space. This is actually my dad's old shop, and I'm very thankful for what he blessed me with, and he let me have this space now, and he's passed now, and so this is it. This is what I have, and I'm very appreciative of that. However, if I was going to do it myself, and eventually I am going to change this, I would actually go with a metal solution in the back of this, because the metal solution isn't going to end up bowing bad on you over time with moisture content in the air. But if you're in an air-conditioned space, or if you're in an area that, like Arizona or Nevada, where you don't get any truly humidity to speak of whatsoever, and you don't have to worry about it, then this solution may actually be great for you. So just keep in mind with your area and what your requirements might be. So thanks for watching, and be sure to leave any comments down below. I read all of them, and I appreciate everything that you have to say, be it about some of the Ryobi tools that I'm talking about, or some of the repair videos that I've done, or even this great one right here, talking about the music. I completely agree with that comment, and I tip my hat to my video editor and my film person. He has done an amazing job. He is behind the camera recording all of these videos for me, and he's doing all the video edits. So big props to him. I really appreciate the work that he is doing, and he is knocking it out of the park. By the way, this video is coming to you because one of the comments was actually asking how I did all of this. And it's this comment right here. And I say at the end of every one of my videos that I appreciate the comments, and I read the comments. I actually work really hard to try to reply to everybody's comments. I don't always do it, but I try really hard to. And I try to address any questions that you might have with those, thus this video. Thanks for watching.